Why do we lead with the Cooper Kupp touchdown? Why do we lead with that facet of it? You want to answer the question, Murray?
Yeah, because when your roster isn't very talented, like this year's Patriots team, you need to make up for it in other areas, like coaching. And when your coaching is moronic, like it was yesterday, and specifically on that play, when you get too aggressive and over-aggressive with a dumb blitz, you cost your team a game. You basically have them go in and play one-handed. That's what that was yesterday. They were game. They could have beaten the Rams yesterday. It's the coaching that got in the way on a play like that.
So the all-out blitz, send 7 guys, 0 blitz, which obviously the Rams were ready for because Matthew Stafford's mimicking the 0 as he's running down the field to his sidelines. We got the 0 blitz, but at least you had your best corner on the receiver out there. Oh, no, so Chris Gonzalez was somewhere else pinned against the other sideline, I would gather, right?
Yeah.
Presumably.
How many times during yesterday's game did you say to your TV or someone you were watching it with, why isn't their best corner on one of these stud wide receivers, Nakua or Cooper Kupp? Time and again. What are we doing? What the hell was that?
So what's the story of the game? Like that's, just sort of a very simple thing. Like what do you lead the show with? What's the story of the game? And reading the coverage, Mazz, I'll take my cues from the writers because they know better than anybody.
Yep.
And they do. Here's a sampling of headlines across the newspaper, online world when it comes to the Patriots. Chad Graff, The Athletic, headline. Jerod Mayo, Patriots, get schooled by Sean McVay, Rams in another loss. Mike Giardi, Boston Sports Journal, headline. Defensive coaching staff leaves Patriots exposed in loss to Rams. Andrew Callahan, Boston Herald, headline. Jerod Mayo's lack of adjustments was glaring in Patriots' loss to Rams. Dan Shaughnessy, Boston Globe. Jerod Mayo once called his Patriots soft, but he is coaching in a similar fashion. Ben Volen, Boston Globe. Jerod Mayo is not coaching to win, and it costs the Patriots against the Rams. And then I get to 985thesportshub.com, our very own 985thesportshub.com. Headline. Coaching holds Patriots back again in loss to the Rams. On 985thesportshub.com.
Was that Barth or Doloff?
So I'm like, well, that's got to be Mazz. Or someone, coaching holds Patriots back again in parentheses in loss to Rams. So I'm like, oh, Mazz wrote a Patriots column. Click on it. No, Matt Doloff. Matt Doloff? When Matt Doloff is doing that, I think we then have a consensus on the story, which is the faulty coaching of Jerod Mayo and his staff. That's the story yesterday, don't you think?
So can I just give you my quick summation of the game? Drake May played probably the best game of his career, and the defense let him down. And when I say the defense, the coaching is a big part of that. To me, that's the reason it's so infuriating. And I know May is sort of a separate story, but it's all connected. Just quickly, in like 2 seconds, how'd you think he played yesterday?
Drake May?
Yeah.
Oh, really nice.
Me too.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay, so I thought he was terrific. And they couldn't freaking stop the Rams. And they at one point, the Rams in 9 plays went 142 yards and had 2 touchdowns. 9 plays. 9 because the Patriots couldn't D up. And they somehow elected to go one-on-one with the 2 best receivers on the other team all day, with neither one really, playing man on, or Gonzalez not playing man on either one. How do you do that?
How many times was there an undersized Jones on Puka Nakua who has a massive height advantage? Just that alone. Look, I'm no football coach, but I don't know. Like, if you're going to try to man him up occasionally, put Gonzalez on him. What are you doing?
Okay, I know this is a nerdy stat. The Rams averaged 11 yards per pass attempt. 11.
No, that's a real stat. I mean, that includes incompletes, right?
Right,
It's per attempt, not per completion, per attempt.
Right. Every time they threw, they gained 11 yards.
Right.
Every time. And I say it's a little bit of a nerdy stat because I don't know how many average fans pay attention to yards per attempt.
No, I think yards per attempt is more important than yards per completion.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
It is. It's usually, you're looking for usually a number around 7, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that area. 11. 10.9 to be exact.
So, it is hard a lot of weeks to second-guess a game plan or, because it's a very technical sport, and sometimes it's really hard to dig into the exact nitty-gritty of it from the outside. Who knows what's a good game plan or a good matchup or not. But I would say this one is kind of rudimentary in that even us, okay, which I would consider on the casual end of the inside knowledge of football would say, okay, well, what's the engine of that Rams offense? And I would say it's Nacua and Cooper Kupp.
Definitely.
Like, that's it. They don't really have a high-end tight end. The running game is central to the whole offense, but it's not like there's a guy, Todd Gurley, still there or something like that. And Matthew Stafford, a nice player in the back end, just got shut down really badly the week before. It's like, so you would just say, like any sort of novice would say, where do you start with the Rams? Nacua and Cooper Kupp. And then you look at your team and you'd say, well, our best player is actually a cornerback. So we actually have a good starting point here. We're going to put Gonzalez on. I mean, this is what I would have done. I would put Gonzalez on Cooper Kupp because I feel like Nakua's sort of elevated himself just ahead of Cooper Kupp. And maybe Cooper Kupp's lost like a half step. He's had some injuries and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I would have put Gonzalez on Cooper Kupp. I would have given extra coverage to Nacua and said, beat me somewhere else. Like, just kind of a really simple thing, right?
Yeah, so you'd think, yeah.
They did just the opposite.
Yeah. I would even live with, we'll let one of them go off, but not both. Both went off. It was just like, guys, what the hell are you doing? There was a key third down for the Rams. I think it would have been the third or fourth quarter. Hopefully you remember this play, where it went to Nacua over the middle, and it was Tavai that was on him at that point in the coverage. He gets spun around like a top. He picks up the 3rd and 8, does the whole motion. It's like, what?
You have, I mean, according to you folks, you have the top corner in the game among them. Their whole offense goes through those two receivers. We put one of them on one of them?
Yeah, right.
Put him on one of them.
No, it felt like zone a lot of the day.
It was.
Or he's on the boundary, and they all talked about it. Like, by the second series, McVay realized that they weren't sending Gonzalez to cover one of his guys. So all of a sudden, they just started motioning everybody. They just started motioning Kupp and Nacua away from Gonzalez. And they went right down the field. I mean, McVay even said it after the game, Jimmy Stewart. Are you with me? Just give me the quick McVay cut on Christian Gonzalez, if you could, please. McVay realized. Yeah, go ahead.
There were some instances where we got a lot of respect for him. So, but I had a lot of respect for their whole secondary, the different things they could do. But Gonzalez he's a real deal, does an excellent job, and I think it kind of worked out that way. But there were some instances where he said, if we can avoid him, let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, we'll just avoid him. Yeah. Which you really should, if you just put him on, if you go man to man and put him on one of the guys, he just follows you across the field and there's nothing you can do. But the Pats never did it. So, like, that to me feels like the lead story, Mazz. Do you disagree?
No. I think I connect May to it because I think everything's about May now. But I will say that was the clear weakness of the game. I've had a problem with their defense all year. How much are you going to ask of the offense when you know it's shorthanded anyway? How many times have they given up big drives? Or big possessions. In the middle of that game, the Rams scored on every possession they had in the second and third quarter.
5 straight.
Every single one in the second and third quarter.
And I say 5 straight because one in the middle ended in that missed field goal from 26. Mazz and I are going out to Waltham High this week and chipping him in from 26.
Holy crap. Like, that was an easy one.
So
it didn't get any easier than that.
So it was really 5 straight possessions.
Right.
They just went.
I count that one.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, because those are points. And you never switch.
No, 0.
Like what?
0.
So that to me feels like the lead story. And so like that in conjunction with some sort of hesitant offensive decisions, play calling, I would say. They
particularly one sequence, I think.
Which is what?
The one down at the goal line when they had first and goal at the 5. And then they had they threw or May
with a touchdown would have cut it to 4, that one.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's right, Murray.
Everyone booed.
That's right.
They settled for the field goal. Everyone booed.
Yeah, and I think that they got, for lack of a better word, like antsy after May almost threw a pick on first down.
So first down they threw it was sketchy.
A little out to Henry at the cone.
And then they ran it twice, right into the teeth of it.
They were afraid.
Kicked the field goal.
They were afraid to throw after first down. They ran it 2 times, and then they kicked the field goal. So,
the questions with the coaching just persist, especially afterwards. So you add that up with the way they played defense, how they passed on, or they kicked instead of, going for it. They held up on going for a 52-yarder early in the game, kicked on 4th and 2 down low later in the game. A couple other, questionable decisions. And then Jerod Mayo, when asked about all that, says, well, the reason we handled it the way we did is because of, number one, Jimmy, if you could, please.
I never really felt like they had control of the game. I felt like we had control of the game.
We had control of the game. We had control of the game when you trailed in this game by scores of 14-7, 21-10, and 28-13. Okay? After May got strip sacked and the Rams scored on the very next play, you never got within, well, I guess you got within 6 points at the very, very end. But those were the scores. 14-7, 21-10, 28-13. You say you're in control of the game when, again, in those middle 5 possessions against you, the Rams went 90 plays, 80 yards, touchdown. 1 play, 12 yards, touchdown. 11 plays, 62 yards, missed field goal. 2 plays, 70 yards, touchdown. 7 plays, 72 yards, touchdown. Mm-hmm. So we never lost control of the game? So that's another one. It's scratching your head. Like, what's the command? Where's the command from the coaching staff? And those questions are, once again, I think, so that to me is the story, especially when I read around in every headline, is Jerod, Mayo, and staff once again cost the Patriots.
Where else do you control the game but the scoreboard?
That quote blew my mind. And look, he actually, on a technicality, could be right in terms of how many offensive plays they ran. They ran 73 to LA's 51. Okay, I guess you controlled there. You controlled the game when it was 7-0. After that, please, do your eyes work, dude?
Unbelievable. Their inability to come up with stops is unbelievable. It really is. And I know this gets into more detail with regard to the coverage decisions and that. How you can continue to just let Matthew Stafford pick you apart with those two guys in zone, basically. And I want to see what the breakdown was, if someone does it, in terms of how many plays they were in zone versus man-to-man. I haven't seen an actual number. But how you can continue to stay there when he's just hitting spots all day long blows me away.
But it's like, and this is one, again, it's often hard for you to come out with a game plan and say, well, you should have had this guy setting the edge against that tackle because that tackle's bad going to his left. We don't know half the stuff. This one, I think every 12-year-old fantasy player, you tell me, you all fantasy dorks, is anyone else on the Rams draftable other than Nakua, Kupp, and obviously Stafford? Is anyone else on that team?
That Kyron Williams, the running back.
Yeah. Because all running backs get drafted?
Yeah, he scores and he's, quick and there's explosiveness there.
That Tutu Atwell, but
yeah.
All I'm saying is,
no, that's it. It's
anyone with just
guys.
sort of
the engine is those two dudes.
A rudimentary knowledge. It starts with those two guys.
It does.
And you have an elite corner. Like, that's just kind of an easy one. Unless I'm missing something. Like, what 12-year-old couldn't say those two receivers? And we actually have a good corner. So we're going to do something in that realm. We're going to figure something out to maximize our best defensive player against the strength of their offense. Except they didn't, and they didn't do anything all day to change it. Like, that's kind of crazy if you ask me. So I don't know, does that mitigate how good you feel about Drake May? Does it add nuance? It does for me. It does for me, because I'll just finish with this. Like, there are examples of the quarterback being the guy and everything around him not being good enough. In fact, you saw him yesterday. Matt Stafford is that classic example, I think, of a guy that was always good. I think, borderline really good. A worthy number 1 overall pick, an elite NFL passer. And he was just surrounded by such trash that he had to get out to win at a high level. And so that does happen. And that's like now the big fear here. Because, the first box has been checked. That kid's pretty good. Drake May's good.
He was good yesterday.
Doesn't guarantee anything.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.